Congratulations! morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. So, guys, welcome everyone to the Power BI with SQL Week 2 live session. And today we have instructor Abid here. So, before starting the session, I request everyone to please change your chat setting default to meeting group chat and also stay on mute until and unless that you have a doubt. Okay. So, since the students were joining, let's wait for 5 more minutes and then we can begin the session. Is that okay, Abid?
Yes, Ravi, sure.
All right, guys, let's begin our session. So, let's welcome our instructor Abid. Hi, Abid. Good morning.
Good morning, Ravi. Good morning, everyone. I hope you all can hear me.
Yes, Abid.
Okay, so let us proceed with the session. Let me know when you can see my screen. Prachi, am I audible now? Can you hear me now? All right. Let's go to the agenda. Let's see what all we have to do today, and then we'll proceed next. We have to start with, we are done with data modeling, right? Cardinality we have to do in that data modeling. and filter flow, cross filter, star schema. What we have to do is we have to learn how to create it in Power BI. We understood it as a concept. Let's understand how to create it in Power BI. And then we will begin with DAX functions as well. Before that, if you remember, there was something called as invoke custom functions that was left. Let us finish this also so that everything will be covered today. I'll give you one example of that, and I'll also tell you what that exactly is. So if you look at Power BI, whenever we did any Power Query, in Power Query Editor, when we did any function, for example, I wanted to perform sum on a particular column, right? I wanted to perform sum on one column where there is amount or probably scores. So this is an already, or what we can do. Okay, let me create another table here. So we have this already in our sales transaction table. How do we have it? We have the product ID, let's say. We have the quantity of the product and we have unit price of the product. So if I ask you now, what is the total amount for this, for each product? How much did this, for the first sale ID, how much did we get here? What is the total amount we received? 20. And this one, 40. Next, 80. Again, 40 and 20. Right? Here, how did you do that? You multiplied quantity with unit price. So we know that there is no function in Power BI which would do that, right? If it was adding everything up here, there was a function that I can use, that is sum, right? There is a function that I can select that column and I can just click on statistics and I can click on this. Let me load the data set. Here on any column, if I want to apply that statistics, I can click on sum and there is a function that will add everything up. I did not have to do it. Some function is applied on it. So this is an inbuilt function. Now, in any, whether you work on Power BI or whether you work on any programming language also, there is something called as user-defined functions. Somebody mentioned this in yesterday's session. So these are user-defined functions. What happens in user-defined functions? You create these functions. You will explain the logic and you will invoke those functions. You will run those functions. Okay. Now, this function that we mentioned, this calculation here, can be created as a function. You can create it as a function. So let's try to create it here. And like I said, in add column, you see this invoke custom function. You cannot invoke it unless you have created one function. Okay. Although if I say I'm creating a new column, in the function query here, it won't be selected unless and until I have created that function. So I have to create that function first. Click on new source. Do I have all of your attention here? Are you all at my screen? Can you all see my screen? Yes. All right. Click on new source. We will create a blank query. If you remember what are queries here, queries are all the tables that we have loaded from our dataset. Right? Now I want to create a query, a blank query. You will click on new source, you will click on blank query. You can either enter your calculation over here, or you can also enter it in advanced editor. Okay, but it is also okay to create one here. So let's say I have this quantity into price is what I'm going to use. This, okay, unit price, we have to call it as number. I'm taking that as number. This multiplication we want to. We're saying that there are two columns. One is unit price and one is quantity. Both are numbers. And after that, the entire thing, the output of the entire thing will also be a number. What is the calculation that we have to perform? Quantity multiplied by unit price. Let's see if this works. Oh. When it gets created, you should see it as a function over here. So this still did not get created as a function. No, it doesn't get created like that. There is a problem in the what do you say? How do we write the function? Right. I did not give that equal to, and I started writing it. So now the function is created. What did I mention? It's simple function that I showed you over here. Okay, quantity into unit price. That's all I created here. Now, why did I mention this quantity unit price as number, quantity as number? We are saying that the input that we get will be a number. The output that we get there, that will also be a number. Okay, that is what we are defining here. If you notice, unit price will be entered as a number, quantity also will be entered as a number, and the output of that will be also be a number. And what is the function we are doing? It's simple as quantity into unit price. Did you all understand this? So we don't have to work on this over here. What will we do next? We'll go to add column. This function is created. Now, how do I know that this function is created? One, you can see it over here. And this is the function that is created. Here you can just simply enter the number. You get the output over here. But there's no point adding it over here, right? Why would I use it for this? So what can I do instead of this? I'll go to add column. This function I want to use over here. In the sales transaction, let's say if this total amount column was not there, I would go to invoke custom function in sales transaction. Now, do you see this option is enabled? Yes, you can change the detect data type after creating this. Now here, but if you create a function, what's the point of changing the, I mean, that is a function, right? Why would you change the data type of that? I'll call it custom total amount because there is total amount already. So let's say this query one. You can rename the query also, by the way. Quantity into unit price. You want to execute it on that. Let's name it as custom total amount. How is this created? Because of the calculation that we made. The spelling and how you have mentioned it in capital Q, U, P, that has to be the same when we are creating it. You can rename this query as well. Okay, you have renamed this query and where will you use it? You will use it in add column. Okay, did you all understand this? Did everybody understand it? Okay, I'll share it with all of you. You can use it to create it as well. You have to create it. Okay, Anil, have a look. How will you create it? You will create on new source. You will click on blank query. You are writing a query from scratch. It's like creating a table from scratch. So here in this, we don't have a table in this case, right? We have a query that we are creating, or that is a function that we are creating. Blank query, add your function here. What I shared with you. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to create a column which will multiply the unit price with quantity in case there was no total amount. Okay, so that is the function that I have written over here. Okay, and that will be created. Once it is created, you should see this fx. If you are able to see this fx, only then your function is created. Otherwise, it will look like this ABC. Whatever function you write, if this has to be created, you have to get it like this. Okay, now the next one, how will you use it? Go back to your add column. Which table has that columns? Select those columns. Invoke custom function. Yes, we are writing our own function. So, and any number of queries that functions that you create, you will be able to see in this. And you'll be able to use them. Does that explain on it? Okay. So I'm going to delete this one because what we are going to do, we are going to start working on data model now. Everything in this Power Query editor is now covered. Okay. There are few which we don't need, like the R script, Python script. We are not going to use those because we are just running that script, Python script in this. Now we do not know Python codes yet. We do not know codes in R yet. So we cannot do it, right? So there's no point doing those. So if there is anything, I don't understand why did you add a query? Can we do invoke function in any of the given tables? You can do in any of the tables, but what am I doing here, Shraddha? I am doing a multiplication of the quantity and unit price. Why am I doing that? Let's say in the sales transactions, there was no total amount. In any of the tables, if their same values are available. Now, let's say this is the customers table. How can I invoke the function unless there is a function available? Do you understand? Invoke is executing that function, executing a custom function. Read it, what is written. Invoke a custom function defined in this file of each row of this table. Now, how will you define, unless and until you define the function, how will you invoke it? because I did not define it. There was no option before. When I tried to show you, when I showed you before creating that function, when I showed you this function query here, this was not enabled. To enable this, you have to create a function. That is the reason you cannot create it in this. You have to create it from here only, in the new source. This is where you create it. You understand it? Sairam, that was covered last week, because I understand if you have not understood it, probably in the doubt clarification, I'll explain you again. Because if I go back to all the topics, we won't be able to cover today's topics. So will you be able to join the doubt clarification and I'll explain you there? What I'll do now, I'll just change the date data types. I'm just preparing my data to go to DAX.
Abid, I have a query.
Yes, tell me.
So regarding this custom invoke of the here you have just addressed it for the invoke function, right? You have
Mm-hmm.
just mentioned for in sales transaction you just mentioned quantity and what we call unit price. So
Mm-hmm.
for instance, it would be okay, but we once we enter into the project, there will be other persons who are involved in the project had done some kind of same kind of custom functions. Then
Mm-hmm.
how do we identify which function is going to represent the table? So do we have any kind of other kind
You
of
will have
option here?
documentations, right? In real time, before you get into any project, you will definitely have a lot of documentations. And you will be provided a brief of what the database looks like. You will have an explanation of everything about the data. A documentation, of course, they won't give you the problem statements and everything like it's a school project or something. But what they do, they give you a documentation of what the tables are about, each table and each row. So you have to go through the documentation. That's how it
Okay.
begins. So you understand which table has which columns, not just for the custom function. For you to
Yeah, I'm
perform
not talking about that.
anything, you need the documentation to understand which table has which column and everything.
Okay, okay, got it.
Okay. Vivek, we will see that as we get into DAX. There are a lot of functions in DAX. So when we do it, you'll be able to relate one with VLOOKUP also. Yes, Kaushik, you can use the same query for multiple tables, but then those columns should be there in those tables. Now, for example, if the products table, instead of unit cost, it has unit price and it also had a quantity. But here it would be talking about the inventory price, the total inventory amount. Then I can perform it over here also. When you're changing data type, why are you not replacing previous tables? I am not replacing previous tables. I didn't understand your question, Sushma. I just changed the date. There's no need to replace the table. Okay, the replace the previous step it was asking about, was it? So, yeah, why? I mean, I just wanted to create a new step, add a new step there. So there's no difference between doing that. You can do any of it. It is fine. Okay. So these my tables are prepared now. Not much to do in this. Now what we will do, we'll go to this. We'll go to our desktop and apply the changes. Now in this, you have a report view. This is where we will be creating the reports. Reports is any charts, any graphs that we want to prepare, we will prepare on this. After this, you have the table here. This is the table view. Prajit, take a screenshot and share it with me. Now, but before that, Prachi, let's focus on what I'm explaining. You can probably try it later during the break if you can try it and send the screenshot. Because otherwise you will miss the concepts that are being taught here. So here in the table view, you will have all the tables, everything that we have. Now, if you notice, I did not add the date table. There was a date table also there in this. Do you remember? So what am I going to do? I'm going to create this table and show you there. So that's why I haven't added this. But however, the rest, all the tables are there. Now we will go to the model view. In the model view, we have different tables here. And if you notice, all these tables, they are related to the sales transaction. Now, you all will tell me if you remember what we did yesterday. Do you remember which one of this is a dimension table and which are the fact tables? Are there multiple fact tables or are there multiple dimension tables? One fact table. Which one is that fact table? Yes. So we know the fact table is sales transaction. And what is the cross filter direction in this? Do you remember what is a cross filter direction? Towards fact table, right? Towards the sales transaction, towards the fact table, it's a single direction. Dimensions to fact. Does everybody remember till here everything that we did till here? We need to understand something called as cardinality now, which we will understand. In this, we just did. This is a star schema and this is a snowflake schema. I hope that also everybody remembers. In Power BI, we mostly used star schema. Not a lot of snowflake schema will be seen in Power BI. Okay, it is mostly the star schema that we will be using. We'll be creating a star schema and we'll be working on that only. There is not a lot of this snowflake schema in Power BI. You cannot use it because that will be, the cardinality will be completely different for that. Now in this, let's understand each cardinality. Let me in fact write everything. Or shall I write it here so that... Did I share this sheet with everybody? Because if I've shared with everybody, then I can just do it on this. Okay. Now in this cardinality, what is the meaning of cardinality? Many rows, so let's say in a table, we have these tables, right? We have sales transaction tables, regions, customers, and products. What do we have in this? The rows in this table, similarly, there are rows in this table. They are the same. For example, each value, one row in table A connects to many in table B. That means in region, there is only one region, right? Let's look at the table also. Let's look at a region. There is this region north. Is it possible that in sales transaction, there will be many north I'll see? Why is it that I'll see many north in that? If you see, There are many north I'm seeing in this. But in this table, there is only one north. Why is it so? Why do you think so? Because in the dimensions table, we are defining that. We are defining what the region north is, exactly. Who is the territory manager there and what is the region ID? We are defining there. With respect to that, people from north can make a lot of transactions, isn't it? It's not just in the sales transaction. With respect to that particular region, there can be many transactions. And coming to the sales also, if you notice at the customers also, when you go to the customer table, with respect in this customers table, there is only one ID for each customer. Okay, 201, let's say. There is only one customer with 201. But in sales transaction, you will see that 201 might be present multiple times. Let's select only 201 and you see this person has bought things multiple times. Okay, so like Vivek mentions, dimensions table, they provide informations on these values which will be used in the sales transaction table. You cannot say they are used exactly, but of course, those are the people. If you look at it logically in real time sense, they are actually making those transactions. Products also, in the products table, there are unique values that is defining each one of them. 101, it is defining what is the product name, category, and everything. So the unique key in this particular table, or there is something called as primary key. Primary key is the unique identifier of each row. Okay. Primary key is the unique identifier of each row, meaning it is defining each value. For example, you all are students. All of you have different IDs. So if I want to extract your information, if I want to understand how did Vivek perform throughout the course, it will be easier for me to fetch the information if I enter the student's ID on the LMS. Isn't it? So that is the unique identifier for all of you. Similarly, if I go to the sales transactions, so in your case, it could be the scores of your a table called as scores or probably performance table. In that table, I could possibly have all the scores, attendance, and everything. Here, there will be, so you could have written multiple exams and attended different modules. So I'll have your student IDs multiple times in this performance table. Although here, defining you, it will be only one row. So this student ID in this particular performance table becomes a foreign key. Foreign key means which connect these two tables. I'll pause here for a while. Did you understand the concept of primary key and foreign key? There's a little bit of theory that you need to understand, but did you all understand this? Primary key is the unique ID of everybody. Let's say here students, products, or customers, anything you want to use. And they become the foreign key when they go to the fact table. You need to understand those before we understand cardinality. Now, if the cardinality is 1 to 1, there is this cardinality. What happens in this? Each value in table A matches exactly one value in table B. That is 1 to 1. But is that what is happening in our database? Each value, let's say customer is table A. Each value in table A matches exactly only one value in table B. That's not happening, right? Because if I look at 201, there are many. So it's not 1 to 1. But there is a possibility in some cases it can happen. But in our data set, that's not the case. When does that happen? Let's say that customer, we make sure that each customer has purchased only one particular product. It's not possible, right? But in cases, let's say one student writes only one exam. So in that case, it could be a one-to-one kind of thing. Okay, probably you can write that exam only once. So each student can attempt it only once. So in that case, it can be one-to-one. But in our case, this is not one-to-one. Now I'll tell you what one-to-many, all these are. You will tell me what type of cardinalities for our data set. Okay. So now you have something called as one-to-many. You have many-to-one. You have many-to-many. In case of many-to-many, what happens? Many rows in table 1, many values in table 1 or table A matches many values in table B. Meaning, but that is also not what we have. Because in table A, let's say customers, there is only one value, which is matching many. Products also, there is one value, which is matching many. So it is not many to many. Have you seen the Superstore dataset, everybody? In that Superstore data set, there are 3 tables: orders, peoples, and returns. Orders, it is repeating, right? They are repeating. Why? Because in each order, there are multiple items. That is why order ID is repeating over here, because there are multiple items in each order. In returns, so there are many rows in this. If a customer returns many values from this, let's say out of the 7 values the customer has bought, if the customer has returned me 5 values, I'll see 5 rows in returns also. Are you understanding my point here? Let's say this is the bill. Okay, this is the bill generated, and because in that bill there are multiple products the customer has bought, I'm seeing multiple values here. Multiple times I'm seeing the same order ID. Out of the 7 products, if the customer returns 5, I'll see the same 5 times over here. What was it? 11581. Okay, if there is no 11581, let's look for this. Okay. In the order table, it's there multiple times. In the returns table, also it is there multiple times. So can I call this many to many? Yes, this is many to many because many rows match many rows in the other table. This is many to many. Okay. So one to one, many to many. Did you understand this? Now, there is many to one. What happens in this? Many value do always relate cardinality from dimension to fact tables. Cross filter direction, Vivek. That is why you have that cross filter direction. If using that fact tables, if you can change anything in dimension table, then the direction will change. You can relate it based on that. So many values in table A match one value in table B. Is it possible for this one? Many sales transaction links to one customer, right? Can I take that in this case? Many to one, because there are many rows for each customer, many regions for each customer. Or if you look at, let's understand what is one to many also. One row in table A matches many rows in table B. Now, both of these can work for us. Can they work? Both of these? One is being matched to many being matched to one. Okay. Now let's understand how do I so which one according to you should be there for our data set? Did you understand many to one and one to many? Tell me which one should it go for retail data set that we are using? Uh, okay, let's say sales transaction. No, not sales transaction. That you decide, because in this case, I'm saying that sales transaction is table A, many to one, because many values are in table A only, right? I mean, in sales transaction, many to one. Whatever is the table A and table B, think of it with respect to that cross filter direction, if you remember. Naveen, yes. If you understand it based on cross filter direction, you'll be able to understand it better. Okay. For example, I'll add here, let's say products to sales transactions. Here, sales transactions to products. One product here can appear in many sales, right? And based on that product, I can filter out sales transactions. In this case, as per this, many sales transactions happen for one product. But do you think uh, it is possible that I can filter out the products based on the sales transaction? Kaushik, we use this to relate these tables. When we are relating the tables, you need to understand the cardinality, because you need, if the cardinality is not correct, when we are doing aggregation on tables, later on in the DAX, we will be doing aggregation, that is sum of values based on, do you remember group by sum of values based on based on these products, maybe sum of sales based on products, sum of sales based on customers. When I'm doing that using DAX, we will do that using DAX also, for showing a, probably when I'm showing a bar graph and I'm showing for each product these many sales have happened. Okay, or for each category of products, already Power BI itself it is created. Yes, Power BI will create it. Power BI will do it by default, but we need to understand how that is done, isn't it? Here, I don't have to do it. It's already created. It's showing me the cardinality. If I click on manage relationship, it is showing me the cardinality. It is showing me the cross filter direction. It is connecting all the table. I don't have to do anything there. But we need to understand what is it doing. What if it does something wrong? How will you correct it? Cardinality won't be totally different in that. After this, let's say this customers table is further connected to another table. Okay, and then it will become a many to many. I showed you one data set yesterday on SQL. I showed you one data set. Do you remember, Sushma? Okay, so there it will be a different scenario. That is like a snowflake schema. You won't use it here in Power BI. Here also you'll be able to see all the cardinalities. Okay, so this is where it will show you all the cardinalities and everything. But when we get into this, we'll understand each of these better. Okay, now, did you all understand all these cardinalities? Now, when I come to this data model, you see this is my fact table. The rest are dimension tables. In each table, this is the primary key. It goes into this table and it becomes the foreign key. It's the primary key here, goes here and becomes a foreign key. Click on manage relationships, you will see everything. When you see this, when you just hover over this, I know sales transaction is connected to customers. How is it how is it connected? Many to one, and there is a single cross filter direction. Many to one, single cross filter direction. Okay, you see this star, this is showing many. One, it is showing one here. Why is it showing many to one here? Because there are many customers in the sales transaction, but for that only one value in the customers table. Did you all understand all this part now? This relationship part, did you all understand? Can I get some confirmations? You don't have to do anything in most cases, but if how here it is, there are only four tables here. Okay, Sairam, I'll just come back to you. Give me a moment. There are only four tables here. But in this case, if you have, in some cases, you will have many tables there. You'll have to click on manage relationships. You can see all the, let's say if there are 10, 15 tables, like when I just showed you in SQL, there are too many. For them, I have to just scroll across the board and see. Instead of that, you have everything here in this manage relationships. You'll be able to see them over here. Yes, there will be multi-direction, I mean bi-directional also. In case of, if you see, if when you load this sample superstore, you will see that it will be a many to many and there will be a bi-directional, not single. Okay, you can load that and you can check that as well. Okay, Sairam, can you unmute yourself and tell me what did you not understand? I'll explain it to you. While the others, you all can do this task. Why don't you all do this task? There was a task from yesterday for connecting Superstore dataset. In week 2, day 1. You have to just do task 4. You don't have to really design it. If you just create, if you just add it, it will show you those. If you're not getting these connections, then let me know. I'll tell you what we have to do there. Okay. So all of you can do this fourth task, connect Superstore data, and then let me know what relationships are you seeing there. Sairam, will you be able to unmute yourself?
Yes, madam.
Yes, tell me, what do you want me to explain?
I mean, this scenario, madam, how we connect like one to one and one to many, how we picturize that.
Okay. Did you understand primary key and foreign key?
No, ma'am, a little bit of confuse.
Okay. Let's say I have these four tables. See, I have an order table. I have a customers table. I have products table and I have order details table. I have these four tables. Which one is my dimension table and which one is the fact table in these?
I mean, orders, customers, and products are fact tables.
No, orders, customers, and products are dimension tables. Dimension, you remember it like this, okay? Where you are defining a value. For example, you are defining what is customer ID 1. Who is customer ID 1? Okay, and the details of customer ID 1. Products in product ID 1. If you are defining each value. So let's say I'll remove this if this is confusing for you. Okay, let's keep only 3 tables here. Okay, there are only 3 tables now: customers, products, and order details. Now, in this case, let's say I have customer ID 1, customer ID 2. Now, you need to understand how these tables are related. So, These are the values. Okay, you have these three tables: customers, products, and orders. Who is customer ID 1? Now you tell me, what did customer ID 1 purchase? What is the name of customer ID 1 and what did they purchase? What product did they purchase? Can you tell me?
Customer ID when he purchased book one, madam.
Customer ID 1 purchased only book 1. Okay, let's add that. Customer ID 1 purchased only once. Did they purchase that?
No, ma'am, twice.
Twice they purchased, right? Now, what is the name of customer ID 1?
Abhi.
Yes. How are you able to say all this? Because of the information present in all the three tables. What are you doing here? You are relating all the information, right? When we merge query, let's say if we have done a merge query, we need a common column between these tables, that is joins, right? We need to join them. When we join, we need a common column between them. Between customer and products, there is no common column and hence I won't be able to join them. But between customer and order details, there is a common column. What is the common column? Customer and order details. Customer ID is the common column. Whatever you see is the common column. Here in the customers table, customer ID is defining each customer. So this one is your primary key. In the products table, product ID is your primary key. When they go to this table, they become the foreign keys, which are what we are calling as common columns. This is also a foreign key. Using these tables are related. Did you understand till here? Dimension table, fact table, primary key, foreign key. Did you understand?
Yes, yes, yes.
Now, based on those, we are able to figure out which customer has bought what product, how much did they pay, right? Now, to understand cardinality, you need to understand that primary key can be only one in each table. So, customer ID 1 in the customers table can only be one. Product ID 1 in this particular product table can only be one. I cannot assign product ID 1 to some other some other product. I cannot assign customer ID 1 to some other customer. Similarly, if your student ID is there, you have a student ID. I cannot assign it to somebody else, right? So each primary key will be one value only in this. But similarly, when this particular customer ID goes into the order details, they can be multiple available there. Why? Because each customer can place multiple orders. That is why one to many. One row from table customers can match many rows in table order details. That is one to many. Did you understand that? And why is it
Yes, ma'am.
only one to many? Because using customer ID 1, I can filter out. I asked you how many products does customer ID 1 buy. You're able to look at this and say two times they have placed the orders. Although they have bought the same product, but what did they do? They ordered twice. So I'm able to see their details twice. I'll be able to filter out what product did they buy using customer ID is equal to 1 if I mention. I'll be able to filter out these values. Okay. Meanwhile, using the sales transaction, I cannot filter out customers, right? So that is why one to many. There are many rows in this table and there are one row which can match to this, one to many. If it was one to one, only one row from this table would match one row in this table. That's all. That is one to one. Many to one, many rows in one table will match one row in this table. Cross filter direction, if you remember, based on the cross filter direction, you can decide that. Many to many is the sample superstore data that I told you. Many rows in one table, that is, let's say if there are different order IDs that we have. In this, Okay, I see there are 4 times this order ID is there. This is not the primary key of this table. By the way, this is the primary key of this table. So there are many rows in this table. Many rows, 100762, because in each order, there are multiple products they have ordered. Product names, do you see? There are many products that they have ordered in a single. That's what we do when we go to purchase something. In a single order, you get multiple products when you go to the store and buy something. Similarly, when you are returning, if you are returning 4 to 5 products from that order, that many times you will see it over here. So, orders and returns, they are connected to each other with the cardinality many to many. So, did you understand, Sairam?
Yes.
Okay, cardinality is all clear to you now?
Yes.
Okay. So you can also try doing that. Load this sales superstore data and try to connect it. I just loaded people, orders, returns, and when I got the model view, there is no connection. What I found is the header name is showing in first row, so I changed that. And then now returns table is not having any relation, then many to many relation is not showing between return and orders. Between return and orders, how will you move it over there is how are you moving it? Using the order ID, you have to connect them. So, okay, let me add that also. Let me also do that. Did everybody else do it? Did you all get many to many? Superstore. Let's see. I'll try to do it both the ways. Let's see which way it works. So, orders, peoples, and returns. Load. I'm just loading it because for modeling, I don't need to do anything there. Only Vivek and Parkavi has done. How about the rest of you? Now there is no relation between any of them. If you notice, it's coming as column 1 and column 2, like Kaushik mentioned. I'll have to go back to transform data to make first row as header. Did that happen with everybody? Yes. So go to this, use first row as header. Go to this, use first row, that is header. Now let's go to our model view, apply changes. No, you can create between these also, orders and returns. This is a many to many. So what you will do, you can take and drop it over here. Now, do you see it is, how do you do it is, Kaushik? You will move from orders to returns because this is, in this, there is many to many. If it was a dimension fact table, right? I mean, in case of our sales transactions and customer IDs and all that. So in that case, you'll move from here to here. But now, because this is a many to many, you can just directly drop from orders to return. Take order ID from orders, drop it to returns. You see 2 tables here, from table to table, orders and returns. Order ID is the column that we are using as the common column. Do you see the cardinality? Many to many. Okay, and cross filter direction is both. Save it. Do you see it's giving you a warning also? This relationship cardinality has many to many, should be used only if expected that neither column contains unique values. So I know order ID in orders also does not have unique value. Order ID in returns also does not have unique value. Only then we have to use it is what it's mentioning, which we already know from this table. So just click on save. You will see the cardinality. And do you see, somebody asked me about the bidirectional cardinality. Do you see this now? It will be bidirectional. Click on manage relationships. You will see this many to many. Kaushik, did you understand? And the rest of you, was everybody able to do this? This was about data modeling. Okay, what we will do now, we'll take a quick 10 minutes break. We'll come back and we'll jump into DAX. Ravi, let's go for a break.
Yes, Abhishek, sure. Yeah. Okay, guys, let's go for a short 10 minutes break and we'll continue the session after the break. Okay, guys, welcome back from the short break. So I hope everyone are back from the break. Oh, okay, Abid, over to you.
Thank you, Ravi. All right, so all of you can see my screen, I hope. I'm not getting return stable data module, Balkrishna. You might not have connected it when you connected. Just connect it again, add one more table. Click on Excel workbook and then add it. When you are adding the table, you might not have done it. When we add it, right, click on open. In case you did not add it, click on returns and click on load. So that will be added then. Okay. If you don't see it, you can add it, but you can see it in the Excel file, it is there, right? In this sample superstore Excel file, we have orders, people, and returns. Okay. Now what we will do, we'll move to DAX. What is DAX and how is it different from what do we do in Power Query Editor? I'm not getting relationship between tables. Which tables are you not getting relationship between? In case you don't see relationship, okay. Between orders and returns table, are you not able to see relationship or in any table? Then in the orders table, you have order ID, right? Click on order ID in that case and move it to the returns table. Just drag and drop. And there you should see many to many, cardinality, everything you'll be able to see there. Just click on OK. And then from regions also, take region and drop it in orders table. Then you will see a there many two. Is it that the snowflake not supported in Power BI or more often we don't deal it with snowflake in Power BI. We don't deal with snowflake at all. And when what we can do, we will connect it with, it's not that it's not supported, it may support, but how do we connect it is the thing here. I showed you a snowflake schema in SQL, right? I just showed you MySQL workbench. So that is my SQL. When you connect this MySQL with this Power BI, that's how we are using. In that case, if I'm connecting with that database, using that database, I'm using Snowflake schema only in that case. So how you connect is the thing there. You can connect that SQL database to this. You'll be able to see that schema here also there.
Hi, Abhi.
Hello.
Vivek here.
Yes, Vivek.
So, Abhi, let's say what I am seeing in my screen, I mean, the screen you are sharing. Let's say my customers is my one of the dimension table.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's say this customer table further divide into two dimension table like customer contact in like customer point of contact
Mm.
and other like yeah, let's say one more dimension customer point of contact.
Mm-hmm.
So can we can relate it both, right? Here, if I had one more table.
You can relate it with customers table further because it will not be related from this orders directly in that case.
Yeah, in the Snowflake also we don't relate directly with the factor.
That's what this becomes a snowflake only. No, later on, if this customer further has dimension, even if it has one dimension also further,
Hmm.
it is still a snowflake in that case because this customer is a dimension. To that, if I have another dimension,
Hmm.
right? So that becomes a snowflake only.
And I had one more question.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the Power BI, is it like we don't deal very much with the Snowflake, or how? I mean, in the real case scenario.
We will deal with it. You cannot say that you don't. Like I just mentioned, let's say if I'm connecting it to SQL database. And
Yeah.
SQL mostly we'll be connecting it with SQL kind of databases only, and then we'll be working on it. So as we go ahead, probably in a week or two, we will learn how to connect this Power BI to an SQL database.
Okay.
Because loading that SQL database is not possible. SQL databases are on servers.
Yes.
You
Yes.
cannot load it like this here. So you will have to connect it to SQL. And then what you see here will be a snowflake schema.
Yes.
Okay, so you will be doing it.
Thank you.
What is the security filter? Security filter. Sushma, where did you read it? Explain it to me. Here you might be seeing something called as semantic model. You will hear something a lot that is semantic model. Semantic model is a well-organized database. That's all. Okay, that is semantic model. You will see semantic model. Now what we will do, we'll go to DAX. Now you don't write DAX query here. You're going to write it in. You can write it in here also, but it is better if we do it in table view. When we are doing it in table view, it will be much clearer. Why do we use DAX? Sushma, just take a screenshot and send it to me here in the chat. Are you able to send the screenshots in chat? Take a screenshot and send it to me. Okay. For now, well, let's move ahead to this DAX now. Was everybody able to create those relationships in this? In the model view? Everybody clear with model view? Can I move to DAX now? Okay. So I hope I have your attention now, because when we start doing DAX, again, you might miss a few formulas if you're back in model view only. Okay. So let's come back to this table view. This is where we are going to write any DAX functions. What is DAX? Any modifications that you want to do. Power Query. You will in fact see that everything we did in Power Query will do all of those in DAX as well. For example, you remember in Power Query, I could extract, yesterday we did this, right? Click on this, extract year, extract month, extract quarter, week, day. This is what we did yesterday. Similarly, the same things I'm going to do in DAX. Now you might say, then why DAX? If Power Query is there, if I'm doing everything in Power Query. See, what you do in Power Query Editor, any change you make in Power Query Editor, you will be able to see in this desktop. When you move to your desktop, when you are creating, let's say I create a column in the sales transaction, okay? And if I add a column in this, I'll be able to see it in my report view. I'll be able to use that here. I'll be able to see it here. I'll be able to see it here. But if I create a column using DAX, I won't be seeing it back in Power Query Editor. Here I won't see it if I create it in DAX. I can create columns, add columns using DAX also, but I won't see it in Power Query Editor. So Power Query Editor is data cleaning, any cleaning that is required. But after the cleaning is done, for some charts and graphs, you might need the data to be modified in some way, but you don't want to make that change permanent. That's when you use it in DAX. That's when you create the formulas of DAX. Do you understand the difference? When you are, I think I told you the same example yesterday. When you are preparing any food, any curry, anything you like, you are preparing food to eat, you add salt in the beginning, right? That's how you want to prepare it. But later on, based on your taste, you will add more salt if required. So the first time you are adding salt, that is Power Query Editor. The next time you are adding for your taste, to adjust it based on your taste, that is DAX. Both the times you're doing the same thing, but purpose is different. You understand the difference? Everything we did in Query Editor, you will see me doing it in DAX also. But here, you will do it by writing the formulas. DAX is all about writing formulas. Now, what all do you do while you are creating these DAX formulas? You can create a new column, you can create a new measure, you can create a new table. Do you see all these options over here? I'll tell you what quick measure is, but focus on these three for now. Do you see new measure? You're creating a new measure, a new column, a new table. Let's understand the differences between three of them. New measure, in this, the output that you get here is just one value. One value. When do you get only one value in the output? Does that remind you of something? You perform some calculation where you get only one value in the output. Aggregate, right? Aggregate functions when you do. So for aggregate functions, if you're performing, you will use measures because you get only one value in the output. Sum, count, minimum, maximum, average, anything of these we do, we get only one value. Similarly, if I create a new column can be anything. New column, it could be when for the calculation, one row is created. For each calculation, one row is created. For output is a column, okay? One value for each row. This custom function that we created today, what did it do? It added values there. Quantity into unit price, right? Extracting of dates. Let's say if I'm extracting year from the order date. All that will create a column. For such values, I'll be creating a new column. New table, a whole new table is created. You remember when we merged queries, we created a new query. Okay, output for this is a table. So in the sales transaction table, if you notice, there is no product category. So I want a table which will give me the product ID, the quantity, unit price, total amount. Along with all of this, I also want to see the product category and subcategory. For that, if you remember, we merged products and sales transaction. Without merging, you will be able to do that. But for this, we need to create a new table. So remember that merge different columns from different tables. In a new table. This you can do, or you can create a date table also. For pivot also, exactly. Or for grouped functions also, in this case, when we are using group by, we can create a new table as well in that case also. A date table when we are creating. There is a date table in this data set, retail sales data set, which I did not load yet here. Okay. Because I want to create that. What is this date table doing here? Date table here works like a calendar. If you notice what is there in the date table, if you haven't noticed values, you will see from 1st January 2023. Do you see here? 1st January 2023. What is the last value? Till 31st December 2023. 1 year calendar you are able to see. There are total 365 values in this. Did you all notice this about date table? So that means the whole year's data is there in this. Why is it there? Why is the date table even needed? I want to see the transactions that happened that year. For me to be able to relate the data set that I have, the order dates that I have in this. Where are the order dates? The order dates that I have in this, if I want to relate it with this table, I want to know what was the day on this particular date. How is it finding that out? You remember yesterday I showed you the day name. How did it find out the day name? Because there is a calendar over here. You can use this table as a calendar. So that also comes under create table. New table. Did you understand these three? In DAX, all the formulas that you create will be used for all these three only. I'll pause here. Can everybody confirm if you have understood this? Any questions? Or probably let us start creating, and if you have any questions, we'll answer this. Ma'am, can you? What do you want me to do, Shaurya? Okay, let's do one thing. Let's start by creating the table. Please explain once again. Okay, let's start by creating a table and let's see if you understand it that way. Is that fine, honey? Ma'am, for all basic DAX function, is there any PDF documentation anywhere? It's there on Microsoft's website. Take it from Microsoft's documentation only. I can give you a documentation. Yes, I have one, but every time there will be a new update. Okay. Go to DAX documentation. Take directly from here. All these are your DAX functions. You don't have to open DAX from anywhere, Balkrishna. You will go to table view. In Power BI desktop, you have report view, you have table view, model view. Model view is where we created these. Transform data is where you did Power Query Editor. Table view or model view. Any of these you can do. You can write DAX. Where do we write DAX? If that is your question, this is where we will write. Now, in case if we are creating new table, for that you will click on new table and here you will write the function for that. Formula for that. Okay. So there is no opening DAX anywhere. You're directly opening this table view and you are going to write your formula there. Okay, now let me show you first how am I creating a table so that the thing I told you about the dates you'll be able to understand. In the orders table, here in the sales transaction, you see there is an orders date, right? For this, these details are already mentioned because of how the data is given on your systems. It will be there. Okay, but for example, if I want to extract some values from it, there is something called as time intelligence functions that we will be doing. One of those will be, maybe I want to find out how are the sales on the same day. This is May 6, 2023. I want to see how are the sales on May 6, 2022. How were the sales on from, okay, let's say December 9, 2022. So for all these time related functions, you need a table called as date table. Okay, which is not there here because I did not load. It's actually there in the data set. Usually when you download any Power BI data sets, this will be there. Okay, date table will be there. In case it is not there, we will create it. So let's add, click on new table. There are only 4 tables. I'm creating a new table for now. Click on new table. This is where you will write your formula. Now, what am I going to create here? I'm going to create a date table. Just give the table name here. What did I give? I gave table name and then equal to after that. Here you will start writing your formula. There are a lot of things that you'll have to remember, but instead of remembering, go to the documentation link that I have given you. Here you will use the function calendar. Like I mentioned, we are creating a calendar. If you notice here, where as soon as I write calendar, above here it gives me what does the function calendar do and how should I write it. When I'm writing calendar, what should I mention as parameters here? Calendar is a function. When you write any function in the bracket, you give its parameters. What are parameters? What should we include in the output that you mentioned there? So in the calendar, mention the start date, mention the end date. What should be the start date here? Let's say I'm saying minimum of, or should I mention the date? Let us mention the date. Let's not get confused with all the aggregate functions and all. Without minimum, how to, we can write the date also. I'll just write the date. Give me a moment. Just give the start date and the end date. So you can write date is the function. Use date. When I'm giving date, inside the calendar, I'm writing date. Inside the date, the parameters I'm giving year, month, and date. So let's say I want to start the date from 2022, 1st January. This is the starting date. Now I'll give the end date. The end date, again, I'll mention date. I want 3 years calendar, 2022, 2023, and 2024. 12 and 31. Did you understand the formula? I'll pause here before entering. Did you understand the formula? Calendar is the function which is helping me create the calendar. What should be there in that? Dates starting from 1st January 2022 to date ending at 31st December 2024. Nothing much to be done. Just press enter. Your table is created. You have all the values in this. Time cannot be given in this because we're not mentioning any specific time. Time you will find it in order table if there was time given here. In the original table, if there is time given. In the original table also there is no time. It's just 0, 0, 0. So you won't be seeing it. Now this is only date, right? Date and time. But from this, do you remember we extracted values? Or when I'm creating a new column, when I'm adding a new column, I can add how to extract while extracting values from this. Let us add a few columns there. In this only, I'll add more columns. Here. Now what do I have to do here? I said I want, let's check in this. Whatever is there, we'll add there. In this, you have year, you have month, quarter, day name, all those things we'll add now. Okay, so let us add year in this. So what should I do for that? What am I doing now? I'm adding a new column. So I'll click on new column. Whenever I add new column, what will happen? Each value for that particular row will be entered for each row. Now, if I write for this, if I want the month, or let's say I want to extract the year, for these, it will give me 2022. So I'm creating a column called as year. The function is also year. Just type year. Okay. The table name, what did we give here? We gave it as date table. Date table and take date. It gives you all the options as soon as you start to write. So what am I saying? From the date table, take the date column and extract year from it. This is the year. Did you understand how did I do this? What I'll do for now so that you all are able to do it too, I'll create a sheet called as DAX. What all DAX formulas I'm using, I'll add it in this. Is it okay? Will you be able to access from here? So I'm starting with date and time functions. However, this cannot be permanent. There will be more than these. I'm going to give you the most common ones. Remember that there are too many of them. It's impossible to cover date and time functions, everything in a day or even more than a day. It will take me months to complete. There are around too many DAX functions actually. If you see all of these, so it's not possible to use all of them. I'll show you the most common ones, the most commonly used ones. So you should always refer this. However, here I'll be mentioning what I used in the class. So here for this one, what did I use? I used create table, and using this I created table. So new table. In new table, I added this. And then new column. When I created new column, what did I do? I added this. I'll create the whole table, and after that, I'll give you some time to create this table. Okay. Now let's add more columns here. So I'm going to add another new column. I'll be writing the month. Let's get the month name instead of month. I'll show you both how to get the month name as well as month. So whatever you want to keep it, you can keep it. So if I want month directly, I'll use the month function and I'll give from the date table, take date column. I'll just enter it. This will give me the month number. Instead of that, what if I want month name? There is a function called as format. Format will tell you how do you want to see the date in the output. If anybody is not understanding anything, let me know. Adding a new column. I'll call it month name. Format. You will use format here because you want the date in a certain format, the month to be there in certain format. After this, you will mention this. Now, what is this? MMM. This you can find it here in the documentation. What exactly it does? You want it in this format, in the month name. When you want month name, you will give this 4 capital M's. When you use format. So this is again for new column. If you just want to extract, you can use this. Where is format? It's not showing you format here. It's only format showing you how to format the string. I'll give you a list of this probably. Okay, so this MMM that I have written, it will give me the month. Similarly, if you want it for something else, you can format it that way as well. Okay, so this for month name. What else can we add? We can add quarter. We can add, let's add day name and quarter also in this. Add a new column again. This will give you all the days. Let us, okay. We could do whether it is a weekend or not, but we need to do some conditional functions for that. So we'll leave that one there. We can also do quarter. If you want to add the quarter, you can add that also. Then you will give something called as weekday. I'll tell you. Let's add that also. In weekday, you will specify the date from which you are extracting. And then date formula. How did I create the date is what you're asking? what do you see here? If you want Monday as 1, okay, Monday as 1, here if you notice, I have written 2. Okay, when I write 2, so it is giving me 3 options here. Monday will be 1 if you write 2. Same things, it will change based on whatever you have written there. Sunday will be 1 if I write 1. Okay. If I write 3, it starts from 0. Monday will be 0. Instead of starting from 1, it will start from 0. Okay. So ideally, I would prefer going with 2. Yes. For all of the different variations, I'll tell what happens there. So for this one, and this one, is it Sunday? It's impossible to remember all of these, so you will have to go through the documentation while you do this. Sunday is 1 and 2. Monday is 1. If you use 3 for this, Monday is 0. That is case sensitive. Yes, Shaurya. This is the date table that I have created. You can add, if you want, you can add quarter 2. We can add it as quarter 1, quarter 2 and all that, but when we learn how to concat or combine different strings, that's when we will combine that string Q with this quarter number. Okay. This is how you can create a date table. I want all of you to create a date table. Use this sheet if you have to and create the column. I'll probably add this link also on this sheet, so that anytime if you want to refer, you will have this. Okay, just create the date table and let me know if you have created. You want to use retail data set, you want to use superstore data set, that's up to you.
Abid, I have one doubt.
Yes.
But if you use a DAX in Power BI desktop, it is not shown in a Power Query, right?
Yes, Power Query is different.
Yeah, if you want to do something in Power Query for this table, if you click on transform data, it will be there.
Yes, it will be there. No, from here, if this change that I have made, now, okay, this table that I have created, if I go to Power Query Editor, you won't see this table there. See, because what did I say? Here in DAX, you're just modifying the data. If I add a column in this Power Query Editor, I'll see it in DAX. But what changes I make in DAX, I won't see it in Query Editor.
Okay, if you click on transform data once again in Power BI desktop, it will be there.
It won't be there. Any change that you are making, see, when I click on transform data, here I am. Can you see the date table that I created? If I close this, and if I go back again, you'll not see there. Change will not be seen in Query Editor. So whatever you're seeing in Query Editor, that's your original data set. You won't make a change to your original data set from DAX.
Okay. But what is the use of DAX?
Modifying your data only for your visualizations. To
Okay.
create some visualizations, you are modifying it.
Okay.
You don't want those changes in your original data. Only for the sake of visuals, you're doing this.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Can you please display the sheet of DAX function? This is the functions that I used. So DAX is about creating a column with certain conditions. Creating columns, creating tables, creating measures, all of those, Amarnath. Working on Power Query makes changes on my original data when apply changes and save. Yes, Vivek. Original data is not on your Excel sheet. You will not see those changes in the Excel sheet, but the data that you have connected. So it will be a flow in case when we are using it in real time, it will be in a flow, right? This data that we are using, Excel sheets and all that, we won't be using there, right? Data connected to the server will be using there, data sources mostly. It probably connect a Google Sheet, which updates every time. More values will be added. So that way, it won't be making any change to your Excel sheet that we are working on. Do you understand, Vivek? In this case, what is your data in desktop? Whatever is there in Power Query, this is your data. This is what you are using. So whatever you are making in Power Query, these changes will be saved and you'll be able to use them on this Power BI desktop. Does that make sense, Vivek? What purpose we create date table? We are creating date table for further any date functions that we want to perform on the table. For example, okay, there are time intelligence functions that we'll do in the coming weeks, which will help us understand how were the sales pattern from last year to this year. To compare those values, we'll be using this table. If I want to load my table that worked in DAX, is that possible? Like export? No, you cannot do it, Vivek. You cannot use it in query editor. It's not possible. If you want that change to stay, you're going to use query editor only. This can be saved as a PBIX file again. If you save it as a PBIX file and you open it, this will be there. But you cannot move it to query editor. Okay. How many of you are done creating the date table? After you add the new column, press enter. After you are done with adding these functions or the formulas, honey, press enter or click on this. It will be created. And then again for the next one, add new column and add the formula. No, we'll do it for strings also. This is only for dates we did. We didn't do it for anything else. We'll do it on text also as we go ahead. What we will do now, we'll go for a quick 10 minutes break. We'll come back and we'll do all this text functions also. Text and aggregate functions, all of those as well. Okay. Ravi, let's go for a break.
Yeah, well, sure. Okay, guys, let's go for a short 10 minutes break. Yeah. Okay, guys. Welcome back from the short break. Abid, over to you.
Thank you, Ravi. Is everybody back from the break? Okay. So while we are at the date functions, let's do one or two other date functions also. That what else can we do while other than extracting from the date functions? From the date. Okay, so what we will do, we'll go to some other table, not just the date table, so that we understand we can do it in other tables also. Okay, so what do you see an order date and do you see a delivery date? I want to know when was the order placed and when was the order delivered. I want to see the difference between those two dates. Do you think that information will be useful for us? Maybe I want to know, are the orders being delivered on time? Right? So there is a function for that also. What we will do, I'll create a new, okay, for that, should I create a new column or should I create a new measure? We did not learn how to create measures yet, but if you have understood what measures do, I want to know the difference between these two dates. Will it be a new column or a new measure? Sushma says column. How about the rest of you? Do you agree with her? Are you all in the session with me? Yep. So let's create a new column. Can you ask the question again, please? So what I'm asking, Shraddha here, I want to see the difference between, I want to know, since the order was placed till the order was delivered, how many days have passed? How much time did it take for the order to be delivered after it was ordered? For that, should I create a column or should I create a measure? Okay, so measure, no Balkrishna, we have to create a column. Measure will be only one value. Remember, I showed you measure will be just one value. Output will be one value, like an aggregate function. We have to create a column because for each row, there will be one value. If I want to know the difference between these two dates, there will be one value. For these two dates, there will be one value. When for each row, there is one value in the output, it will be a column. If you are adding or if I'm seeing counting the delivery days, total delivery date, how many delivery dates I have. For that, I'll use the measure. Number of rows in the delivery date column. For that, I'll use measure. But here I have to create a column. Let's say the output, I'm calling it as delivery days. And here, how do I write this? The function that you're going to use that for that is datediff. For those of you who know SQL, this function is also there in SQL. So you'll be able to relate it better. Those who don't, this is how we do it. You have to write date diff. It will give you the difference between two dates. And as soon as you write date diff, it gives us the options there. Return the number of units, unit specified interval between input dates. So two dates are there, order date and delivery date. And how do you want the interval to be? That is, do you want it in days? Do you want it in months? Do you want it in hours? How do you want it? How do I want it now? I want it in days. So you have to specify the table and the column name. So the column is order date. From the sales transaction, take order dates and delivery date. So do you see, as soon as I'm typing the column name, it is giving me the option. Difference between these two columns I want, order date and delivery date. After that, in what do I want? Do I want the output in days, hours, minutes, second, month, quarter, anything you can take. But if you look at the database here, do you see the output will be in days? May 6 to May 13. It's in days only, right? Let's say if it is the same day delivery, like for apps like Blinkit or the Zepto and everything. So what should I use there? Should I still use days here? I can use minutes or I can use hours for minutes mostly, right? So Priya, won't it be in minutes? I mean, if it is nearby, it should be in minutes. I'm talking about Blinkit or Zepto kind of apps, which will send it to you in minutes. right? So you'll be using minute. There is also on Amazon Prime, there is same day delivery. In that case, you can go for hours for those. Okay. Or else, if you are opting for anything else, like the days if in the output, if I see here, it is in days, right? So if you just add it, these are better in days. You can do in hours also. If you do it in hours, it will show you how many hours were there in 7 days. All those you will see here. You can, here, you won't be able to move here. Sorry. Okay. Did you understand this? Delivery days, how did I count it? I'll add this also there. This is also a new column. I'm mentioning which should be a new column and which should be a new measure so you understand. This is something that you can do. We can also do it based on years. So for what can I do it for years? Let's say, do you remember in Power Query Editor, there was a function called as age. What did we use it for? A date column tool called as age. What did that show us? You don't remember? Till present, from the date of order till today's date, local date. So how many days have passed? How many? But for this, I can try with years also. How old the order is exactly. So now for that, I'll add a new column because I just want to show you one more function called as today, and we will be using it with year this time. I'm going to give the date diff only. Let's say years since order. Okay, probably I want to check the warranty of a given product. A customer has bought a product on certain day. I want to see the warranty of that product. So for that, this will be useful. So in that case, you can mention date diff and order date. And after this, in date 2, I'll not mention delivery date. I'll mention today. Today will give me what is the date today exactly. And then how many years have passed? Because I know there are years passed for that. And when you execute this, do you see for the order date, how many years have passed? You will see here. Did you understand this function as well? It's date diff only, but using it in a different way. Is it okay if I continue doing it so that I can complete all the functions and you can probably do it later after the session? And however, we will have a doubt clarification and I'll cover your doubts there. Supriya, if you want month, select month here. Oh, I changed it for delivery days instead. I'll go to this. Okay. You can check how many months have passed. You can extract dates and months from this also, but then there's no point doing it because we have done it here. If you want to extract it in the sales transaction, you can do that also. So this is done. These are the most common date functions that apart from extracting the year, month, days and all that, we'll mostly use it for finding the difference between dates. However, I have given you the documentation link. You can explore more date functions in that. Okay, there will be more date functions. You can explore as many as you want. Okay, let's move to the next function. Let's create some measures then. Okay, let us create some measures and then we will come back to these functions, text functions also. Here you see new measure. We'll be creating a new measure, and but this measure that you create, you won't see it in the table here, okay? Because it's just one value. You won't see it in the table here. We will see it in the output, in the visual. That's where you can see it. It will be created like a measure. Do you see this icon here? All the measures will be seen like these. You cannot see it in the table. So let me create one measure. In the sales transaction only I'm creating it. Let's say I want to see the total amount that we have received till now. Total amount column is there, but what will it give us? Adding, multiplying quantity, unit price. What is this? But what do I want? I want to know how much money did I earn till now. That is, I'll have to add up everything in total amount. So let's say I'll call it total sales. And here I'll give sum. Sum of what? Sales transaction. Total amount. That's all. It's created. In this table, you will not see it. Measures cannot be seen in the table. So when you look at the sales transaction table, you have a measure called as total sales, but you cannot see it. How can we see it? Let's go here in this visual. About visualizations, when to use which one, we will see as we go ahead. But mostly the measures can be seen in cards. So total sales, if I drop here, these are the total sales that we have made till now. Okay, I just moved the this total sales, the measure. Is it for that for small data we use DAX functions, and for big data we use advanced, like Sushma, there are more points to it. For example, in case if I'm using only sum, it will add up everything in one column. If I'm using multiple columns in the output, if I want to see multiple columns in the output, then I'll use those. Okay, so we will do it when we do it. Okay, I'll explain you all the differences. For now, let's just focus on what we are already doing it. Okay, did you understand the measure? You cannot see the measure in the table here. Okay, in any of the tables, if I'm creating it, if I want to know what total value of tables do I products do I have, what is the total value of the products, I won't be able to see it as a column. I can use this unit cost column. Let's say I'm creating a new measure on this. What is the average costs of all the prices that I have? All the products that I have. Average price of all the products. This is unit cost or average cost price. Let me write. This is cost price, by the way. There's a difference between cost price and selling price. I believe everybody knows that, right? So here average cost prices, how much did we buy it for? And in the sales transaction, there will be a table which will be showing you how much did you sell it for. So here you have cost price. The function is average, and products here in this unit cost. What is the total average cost price? In this again, go back to this. In the products, you have average cost price. This is the average cost price. This is the total sales. Did you understand what is a new measure? What is a measure? Did you all understand?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Anil.
Sorry for interrupt, ma'am. I joined just now after the break. Before that, my power was lost, so I didn't able to understand what all this. This is the DAX functions. Ma'am?
You did not do DAX function, did not understand anything from the beginning for DAX functions?
Yes, ma'am. My power lost. I just joined now after the break.
Were you there when we did all these functions? Date time?
My power lost, ma'am.
There are too many to explain, Anil. I cannot repeat all of these.
I'm not asking you to reply again. What are the topics we covered just now?
We just did this date time functions. I think we did this before the break only. So date time DAX functions. These are DAX functions that is used to modify your uh, tables. Okay, for the sake of visuals. In that we just did the measures. We also did new tables and new columns also.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So what we did here, we just did we created a new measure, average cost price. So what we are doing, we are using aggregate functions for these measures. Remember that. Whenever we want to create a measure, we'll be doing aggregate functions. For example, I want to know the least number of products that were ordered. In the sales table, quantity. What is the least quantity that we received order for? One, we know that, but let's just still do it. A new measure, let us create. Least quantity. For that, I'll use minimum of quantity. Again, you won't be seeing it here. You have to go to this, create a card, click on card, and just add your measure in that. Okay, the least quantity that was ordered was 1. So, new measures are also understood. I'll show you one more measure though. What we will do in this, we will be using the filter function. What filter function I'm showing you now, it's the most basic one. Okay, there are more advanced filter functions also, which we will do in advanced DAX. This is most basic filter function that we are going to use in this. Okay, so I hope I have your attention here. Now, my question is, I want to see those probably orders, or how many orders are there where the average quantity is greater than 5, or the quantity is greater than 5. Average orders, average of the total amount where the average orders is more than 5. I mean, I'm trying to give a condition here. Okay, a filter is, there are different quantities given over here. Let me think of a proper problem statement for this. I'll create a new measure only for this. Average quantity sold. Let's say average, yeah. Where the quantity is greater than 5. I've sent the question in the chat. This is what I'm trying to do. I want to find out average quantity sold, where the quantity is greater than 5. In this, okay, let me write it in 2 separate ways. We can break like quantity ordered more than 3 where unit price is greater than average unit price. We can do that, but what I'll do is I'll show it to you in 2 different ways. Okay, I want to see all the different products. First, let me see all the different sales. For that, okay, you'll tell me whether I should give a measure or what do you say, a column for this. I want to see all the sales where the quantity is greater than 5. For this, what should I create? A measure or a column? All the sales where the quantity is greater than 5. Let's see if we are able to create that. Let's create a column. Should I create a column for that? Let us create a table for that instead. Because in that case, don't you think I cannot get it in the output when I'm trying to filter that out like that? How will I get it in the output? Only those columns. It does not happen like how it happens in But then what's the point of that? I want only those orders which are greater than 5. We can count rows also with how many such orders there. In that case, I can use a measure. Let's do one thing. I'll create a table. I'll create also a measure for that. Okay. Let's create a table first. In this case, what will I do? What should I name the table? Doesn't make sense, but for our understanding, quantity-based filter I'm applying here. So for this, what am I going to do? I'm going to filter out all the values. From where am I filtering out values? Which table? Sales transaction table. From the sales transaction table, what do I want? I want the quantity. I'm applying the filter on quantity where the quantity is greater than 5. What did I use here? I used the greater than operator. Do you know this greater than, less than? Do you know comparison operators? Less than, greater than, equal to, not equal to. Okay, those are called as comparison operator. So I'm using a comparison operator and I'm creating a table called as quantity based filter. I want to see all the sales transactions which are greater than 5, where the quantity is greater than 5. Now this is a new table created. In this, if you see all the quantities that are there, they will be greater than 5. Okay, for this I cannot use a column. A column cannot be created like that. Okay, did you understand this? Now for the same thing, let's say I want, there are how many? There are 440 rows in this. If I want to do it in the sales transactions table, I won't get the values in the output, but what can I do there? I can create a measure which calculates the quantity. Let's see that also. I want to see, what can I name the measure? Filtered sales quantity, maybe I'll call it. And here I want to calculate the total quantities it will first add up. No, let's do it based on. So in this sum sales transactions amount, from this, I want to filter out. After that, I'll mention filter. Sales transaction, from the sales transaction, filter out the quantity. In this case, for all, I'm seeing the sum of all the products, all the orders, which has more than 5 quantity, Kaushik. But what new do you see here? Do you see calculate? I have used calculate here. I'm not directly using sum or filter. Do you see here calculate? Does everybody see this? Now, why am I using calculate here when there are multiple functions in this? Two functions I'm using inside this. I'm using sum. I'm also using filter. If it was only sum that I'm using, I don't have to give a calculate. But if you see, I'm applying the sum of sales transactions. I want to do the sum of total amount where the transactions quantity of products ordered is more than 5. Similarly, like how I have done some of this, I'll just copy everything and I'll create another new measure for the previous question which I gave you. What do I want to do there? Average quantity sold, but only for those whose quantities, for the orders whose quantity is more than 5. So I'll name it as and here I'll use average. And instead of total amount, I'll use quantity. Not least quantity. Sales transaction doesn't have quantity, it has quantity. I'm in the measure. See, what I have clicked here, I clicked on this least quantity measure and I was trying to work on it. And that is why it is giving, it wasn't reading it. So you have to click on, you have to be on the correct view when you're writing the formula. For example, if I'm writing the sales transaction formula in some other table, it'll be wrong, right? So here, make sure you're using the correct table for that. So in this case, I'll be writing a new measure this time. Average quantity filter. Now do you see? It is giving me the quantity option here. I want to see the average of quantity and filter out those where the quantity is greater than 5. Like how I did some of the transactions before, I'm doing the same with the quantity this time, but using the average quantity filter. All of them you can see in different cards. I did 2 different ones. One is filter for this, and then one for sales also I did, filter sales. Okay, this is the average sales. This one is the average sales for those sales amount. Was it average sales amount? It was sum of sales amount. Sum of the sales amount for those who have purchased quantity more than 5. This is the average order quantity for those who ordered more than 5. Problem statements are a little tricky, but did you understand when should we use a measure and when should we use a column? When should we use a table? That was what I'm trying to do. In creating new measure, is there a case where we take columns from different tables or we should take after joining? You don't have to join it. You can specify, but there is something that you call as related. Did we have to do related today? There are no relational functions. When we do relational functions, we will be learning how to relate different tables. Okay. How to get data from different tables. That's what we will do it. Is everything clear till here? We started from data modeling and aggregation filter functions. Till here we are done. Is everybody clear till here? Is it okay if I extend the session today also for 15 minutes probably? So we will finish everything that's there in this also. Is it not okay if I extend? Okay. Let's try to finish it on time then. But we have conditional, logical, and text functions. We'll try to do them. Like quantity ordered more than 300 price. Are you getting the output for this, Vivek? Yeah, okay. We will do these conditional functions. We didn't do conditional. We also didn't do logical. In your output, in your code or in your formula, we have the operators and also we also have what do you say, if conditional functions. So we will do now and then your formula can be understood by everybody. Dim date, the date table that we created, dimension date table. There was no dimension date table when we added, and we added it later, right? So that is dim date, dimension date table. We used calendar to create it, that one. Okay. Let's start with text functions, and while we are doing text functions, I'll show you what is if, what are conditional functions, and what are logical functions also. Now, text functions, I'm sure everybody can understand, they can be done only on columns with text, like customer names, product names, on all of those. Do you remember any of the text column tools we did? Combining, splitting, merging, right? Merging two columns, splitting two columns. Extracting value, okay, trim, clean you cannot do in this, but trim probably you can. What else you can do? Extracting values, first two values, last two values, values in between, convert to uppercase, lowercase, length of the different characters, right? All these things you can do with text functions here also, but here there are no direct functions, you have to write the formulas. So I did not write the formulas for the measures. Do you want me to write the formula for measures? I think I should. I'll just add these here, okay? Probably I'll add these after the session, okay? Because otherwise we'll waste a lot of time here. I'll add more functions here. All the measures that I've added, I'll add there. Now here what we will do, we will learn how to do what to do in the text. In this case, let's say I have a full name over here. You cannot split values in this, but what you can do, you can concatenate. What is concatenate? You're going to merge two values. Okay, merge two columns. That is what concatenate. One way to do it is, here, let's say I want to write name and gender in the same column. Okay, I want to give name and gender in the same column. Should I create a new column or should I create a new measure for that? New column, yes. For all the text functions, we'll be creating it in new column only. So in the new column, remember you have to select the correct table. If I'm using customers, I am customer's first name, sorry, customer's full name and gender is what I want in one column. So just give it some name and specify the column name, full name, give and. And is your logical operator. What is the difference between and or? Can anybody tell me what's the difference between and or? And means both, okay, or means one of them. You will be giving multiple conditions here, right? When we are giving operators, we'll be giving, let's say I'm giving multiple conditions. In the output, if I want to see both full name and gender, both of them in the output, I'll use and. If I want to see any one of the condition to be satisfied, I'll use or. One more relatable example that I have for this is, let's say if you are saying that you want job at Microsoft and you want your salary to be more than 20 lakhs per annum, you will accept the job only if both of these conditions are true. The operator you will use here is and. Let's say you're saying, I'm okay if I get a job at Microsoft or in any other company with more than 20 lakhs salary. In that case, you will use or. Okay? If you want all your conditions to be satisfied, and only then you will accept the job. That is and. If you want, even if any of my condition is satisfied, I'll take up the job. That is or. That is the difference between and or. Do you understand? I see most of you already know it, but for those of you who did not know, I hope it is clear now. So here I've created a new column, but there is some issue with this column. What is the issue with this column? There is no space, there is no separator. There is no delimiter or separator in between them. I see it is joined. By using AND, I could join it. But what do I not see? I don't see a separator. You can add a separator as a string. So I'm going to add this as a separator. Okay, so there are 3 strings in this: full name and gender, and this is also a string. So it will not read, Power BI will not read it because it's not one of the values. So to add it as a string, you should give quotes beside it. So there are 3 strings we are joining: full name, this separator, what do you call this one? Pipe, and then gender. Why did it not read? Oh, I have to give this 2 quotes. It's not reading because of that. Quotes, you should use this one. Okay, you can give spaces after this if you want more space there, just give space here. Okay, did you all understand how to combine these text columns here? A similar use, what I'll show you here is, I was waiting to do this one before I show you something in the date table. In the date table, you have quarters here, right? I want it to appear as Q1, Q2, and so on. What can I do here? You can specify Q and give AND. You can also use this to merge. Do you see this now? So you're merging a string with the date. So now you get Q1, Q2, Q3. Now this makes more sense. Right? So you can use it like this also. But what should you do if I want to merge more than 2 columns? Let me, here you can keep on adding. Okay, where did my column go? If I want to add more than 2 columns, let's try if I can add one more. Probably some other details. Customers email and phone number. There is a function also, but when you're doing it with the function, Sushma, you can do only 2. That's the problem. This one, you can keep on adding more. So what you learned here is your logical operator. This is not a logical function. This is a logical operator. Remember that. Okay, you're giving only one AND here. That is your logical operator. Similarly, you can also add city here. Let's see if this works. So you have all the details. All the columns you can add by just using this AND. Okay. Did you all understand all these? How am I combining? Now you can also do it with a function. I'll show you with the function also. The function that you have is or along with the name, let's say I want city also there. Okay, so the function that you can use is concatenate. But in case of concatenate, you can join only 2 strings. What are strings? The text functions, or the text columns. String is a data type for text columns. It's called as a string. Now, can you notice here when I am writing concatenate, it's clearly telling me joins 2 text strings into one. It can join only 2. It cannot join more than 2. Okay, so just add full name of that customer. City, etc. City of that customer. Again, the same issue, probably just give this. Okay, so there are only, ideally, if you look at it, there are only 2 strings. There are not more than 1. I cannot give a comma here instead of and. It will not take up. Do you notice? If I'm giving it a comma, it will not accept with concatenate because there are 3 strings. This one is also a string, right? So if I'm giving a comma, it doesn't take because concatenate can only take 2. That is why I'm mentioning and here. So what it will do, it will combine these two and give it in this concatenate. Did you understand what's happening with concatenate? I can use only 2. That's why it is better if I use and there. Did you all understand that? Okay. Then why to use concatenate merge was better? Yes, merge. There is no merge option here. Just use and operator. You're not using merge here. Use anyone. If you have only 2 columns, Sushma, then use concatenate. There are several things that you can use. If you don't like it, use some other function. That's fine. There's not just one way to answer any question. There are multiple ways to answer. Whatever you find better, you can use those. What else can we do in case of string? We can count the number of characters, right? So number of characters. Let's leave this. Let's go to some other table and do it because we're doing a lot on customers table only. Let's go to products table. In the products table, I want to see the number of characters in the product name. I'll add a new column and I want to see number of characters. Len is the function. You will use len and give the name of the column that you want. That's product name. Simple. It will just give you the number of characters in each. We can see clearly that all the products have the same number of characters. If you want to use a different one in this case, maybe subcategory. Okay. Did you all understand length? What is length? What did length do? It just found out the number of, it was length only in query editor also, but you just have to select it instead of do it, write the formula for that. Okay. Now what will I do? I will extract values. You remember, did we extract values in this also? Query editor? From the given furniture, I want only the first 3 characters, last 3 characters, middle 3 characters. Extract was a tool there. Similarly, that's what I'm going to do. First few, last few, middle few. So let me extract that. I'll use the category column only for this. I'll extract the first letter from the category. You can use left. Left means it will extract the character. Left from which column am I taking? From the category. And how many characters do you want? Just have a look at this, you will understand. Number of characters you want to pull out. If since I said only first character, I'll write 1. So I'll get only the first character. But if you want the first few characters, give 3. Give those many numbers. Left will give you the first few characters. Now give a guess. What should I do if I want the last characters? Right, exactly. right? Right, and I want the category, number of characters. Okay, so again, if you change the number of characters, that many number of characters will be there. Similarly, if we want the middle characters, when we did middle in case of query editor also, there was something that we had to remember. Do you remember what will that, okay, let me give you the function first. I want probably middle 4 characters or so. So I'll use the function mid only. I'll give the text. Text is category. Do you see start position I have to provide and then number of characters. We did the same way in case of query editor also. Start position. Let's say I want to start at the 4th character and print the next 5 characters. Start at the 4th character. Yes, give a range and print next 5 characters. Okay. Start at the 4th character, print next 5 characters. Sushma, based on why are you doing it? If you want to save this in your table, while as a process of your data cleaning, when you are preparing the data, you do it in query editor. But for some reasons, you don't have to do this in query editor if you don't actually want to save it in your data set, but you want it later after you have done data cleaning and everything, only for the purpose of your visualizations. You want your visualization to appear in a certain way. For only that, if you are creating, you will use this. You will do it in DAX. As simple as that. Okay. Did you understand all the text functions? Again, it's not limited to only these. When you open this documentation, not this one, here you will find many text functions. That is something I would request all of you to go through. I am showing you the ones which are most commonly used. For upper, when you use, do you remember upper? It's the same. Just give upper and give the column name, lower and give the column name. As you go ahead, I'll give you combination of multiple DAX functions. Okay, multiple formulas we will do, and then you will understand the use of each one as we go ahead. Does anybody have any questions on that we covered? What we covered? So there's conditional column and conditional functions and logical functions. Both of them I'll explain it in one, but is everybody clear till here? Only 3 more formulas will do now. Is there anyone who's not understanding anything? These are pretty simple. There is no point of trying to how do you call this, by heart or memorize these functions, formulas. Do you understand that for every different question you have to write the formula yourself? Probably those who are good at Excel might be able to understand these formulas in a better way. Okay, because they know Excel formulas already. This will be easier for them, that's all. But for the rest of us, we have to practice. And we have to look at different questions and try to write the formulas ourselves. For this, we need to know all the functions, all the possible functions. Okay, now what we will do something. I'll go back to the sales transactions table. In this, I'll give you conditional functions. Now, conditional functions are, I want to create a column which is called as target customers. Okay, my target customers are, can you provide the function list? I have given you this already, this one. This has all the possible functions. Okay. The examples that I'm doing, I'll add to this sheet. I added till here, but I forgot to add later. I'll add it. Okay. But these are all the functions. DAX functions. Everything in DAX functions, you will find all these. I've shared this sheet already. Okay, now let's focus on the question. The question is, I have a target customer. What do I want in the target customer? I want my target customer, probably I'll send some offers to these customers. Okay, what do I want here? I want the customer sales transaction where the amount, the customers who have paid total amount more than 2000. It's like if else. We did if else in that. The same thing. If else elif we did there. That's exactly what I want to do. Okay. I want to see those whose total amount is total transaction is more than 2000. For this, can we create a column for this? We can create a column for this. Let's try to see what output do we get for this. Let me create a new column. I'll call it as target customers. We know for conditional formatting, it is if else. We used if else yesterday, but again, that was an inbuilt thing. Here we are writing it. So if, write the logical test. What do you want it to be there? What is my condition? Total amount has to be more than 2000. Is there any with more than 2000? Yes, more than 2000. What should it give you if the total amount is more than 2000? Yes. If it is not more than 2000, give a no. I've given only one condition, not more than one. Here it's only one condition. Now my target customers are only these. Yes or no? I think this was the solution. Vivek gave us a similar solution, right? So did you understand this? If sales transaction is more than 2000, yes, otherwise no. When you write if itself, it will give you that. You have to give the condition, the logical test. What logical test do you want it to pass? If it passes this logical test, yes, otherwise no. So for all those where you see more than 2000, you will see a yes, otherwise a no. Did you all understand if? There's no need to write else here. Okay, when you are giving if, you'll write only if, you will not write else. After this, I'm writing one more thing. Let's do one more thing. What if I have more than two conditions then? I want to see those who have paid total amount more than 2000 and who are from the region south and who have made the payment made the payment through net banking. I have these three conditions. And operator. Yes, and operator. What you can do here, just keep on giving those operators. But here, when we are using it with conditions, you will give that and that we used there. It was used for combining. Do you remember that? One and when we are using only one and. I used it for combining strings. But when I am giving it with a condition, this is and. This is one I'll use. Okay. So did you understand the difference between using only one and multiple ands? This will be the operator I'll be using with conditions. The single and that you use, you're using there to combine different strings. That's all. Region has to be, let's say, south. Another one. Payment mode has to be net banking. If all these conditions are satisfied, only then yes, otherwise no. So it's mostly no, but I can see a few with yes also. Where the region is south, transaction is more than 2000 and payment mode is net banking. Did you all understand what did I do here? Logical operator and if, that is your conditional function. Did you understand this? Did everybody understand this? I want more responses, please. Otherwise, I'll not understand if you all are following. Right. Okay. Now we will do, okay, what should I do if I have to give or? If any one of the condition is satisfied, instead of that, you will give this. This is your or op. Yes. Okay. This 2 pipes you will give. This is or. Any one of the condition is satisfied, it will give yes. If the total amount is more than 2000, yes. If and if none of the others are satisfied, but region is south, yes. Payment mode is net banking and everything else is fall, still yes. Because any one is satisfied, I want a yes. And all the conditions have to be satisfied, only then yes. Did you understand difference between and or here? We know the differences between them, however, but this is how you write them when you write. Now let's write another one. So here what did we do? What we are using here, these are still operators. But there are something called as logical functions also. This is a conditional function. If is a conditional function. Here what you are using in between, these are operators. Okay, and operator. But there is also something called as and function. Okay, that is logical function. So what will you do there? I'll get the same target customers, but with the help of and function. So how will I write it? I'm beginning with and if only, because I want that as a condition. Here you will write and as a function. But again, the same problem with the function. You can give only two logical tests. That's all. So how do I write it? Yes, true or false is what you will get here. So how do I write it? I'll write the sale amount. What was that total amount? Total amount is greater than 2000 and region south. There can be only two conditions. Can we give more than two? We cannot give more than two. Okay, like how I give payment mode. If I want payment mode using net banking, I'm trying to give 3. Let's see if we are getting 3. So if I give this, it's not taking up. And where is it showing me the error? From the third column that I tried. Do you see? Unexpected parameter. So when we are using and, I can give only 2 conditions. I cannot give more than 2. Like with concatenate also, I could use only 2. Here I can give only 2. You can add and, of course. Yes. But no. Here when you're giving the condition, it does not take those. Because this is not a string, right? If you're using a string, in that case it would, but here it won't. And is your function only in this. Or just write or in that way. Or is also the same function. Any one of the condition is satisfied, it will give you yes, otherwise no. This is your logical function or an and if you have if, that is your conditional function. You have not also, but we will do not with the others. With some other examples, we will do not with this one. Probably when I write some other functions, will do not. And or not, those are your logical functions. Now here, but the mostly used one is and or. We're done with everything that was there. So there is nothing pending. You can do all the tasks and all the assignments. We are done with the time also, but before ending the session, oh, you can give nested if. Let's do this otherwise. Okay. Thanks for bringing that up. Let's do a nested if and see. Instead of doing that, you don't give two ands. You cannot give it like that. But let us do nested if. Because that's also one of your conditional functions. Now, let me go here. What I want to do, instead of giving target customers, what we will do here, we will create another column, which will, I'm dividing them into different categories. Okay. So let's say for those who have paid more than 3,000, equal to or more than 3,000, I'll call them, write it as total amount greater than or equal to 3,000, then it is platinum. I'm sharing it in the chat here. I'm not writing on my screen, by the way. And if it is greater than or equal to 2,000, I'll call it gold. Or if anything less than that, it's regular. If this is the function, this is like an elif, right? You remember we did elif yesterday? So we didn't do elif over here when we were writing this. Let's do one with elif. Here, let me create a new column. I hope everybody is here with me in the session. Did you understand my question? I want to create one. I want to call it customer tier. Okay. And I'm writing if total amount is greater than or equal to 3,000. Then I'm calling them platinum. That's the tier. After that, I'll write again if the total amount is greater than or equal to 2,000, we'll call it gold. Vivek, I'll come to that. After this, I'll come to that. So if I'm giving sales total amount is greater than or equal to 1,000, then call it silver. If none of the conditions are being satisfied, it will simply call it regular. Did you all understand what did I do? This is nested if or elif kind of. So here, whoever have paid more than 2,000, 3,000, it will call platinum. Those who have paid more than 2,000, it will call gold. More than 1,000 and less than 2,000, it will be silver. Anything else will be regular. Did you understand this? Okay. I'll do what Vivek wanted to do. I think it's the same thing that we did, right? Sales transaction amount greater than 2000 and South and net banking. You can write both, all of them together inside it. Yes. So for the rest of you to understand, here you can get it as, again, the same target customer that I created. Okay, target customer. Here you what Vivek is trying to do, giving one and inside another and, because when we're using and, we can give only two logical tests, right? So in that case, let's try it as sales amount. Where's my total amount? Total amount greater than or equal to 2000. Okay. After this, I can give only one condition. Instead of giving only one condition, Vivek was mentioning if we can give another and here. Like how we did nested if, the same way. So now the region is equal to south. And what was that? Payment mode. Payment mode is equal to net bank. But don't you think using the operator would be easier in this case? You can use this, no problem doing that. Now after that, I'll just give a yes or no. Okay, and is already in use. Okay, a very big column name, but for me to understand what did I do there. Okay, you can use it this way. And like a nested if, it's like an and inside another and. Okay. All right, so we have covered everything that had to be covered. Thank you very much for being so patient and listening to me. But I hope you all are following too. You need to practice. There is a lot that has to be practiced. There are tasks and assignments that you'll have to do. And we will have the doubt clarification session also, don't worry. So if when you are practicing, if you have any questions, make sure you join the doubt clarification session and get your doubts solved. For now, does anybody have any questions? Or based on the explanation, is everything clear to everybody? Did you understand? I need some answers, please, before I wrap up the session. All right. Okay, then thank you very much. Ravi, over to you.
Okay. So that's all for today's session, guys. I hope everyone have enjoyed the session. So as Abid mentioned, try to work on your assignments and practice test. Try to submit it before Friday. Okay. And also, as all you know that once we wind up the session, the feedback link will be live. So please do provide your valuable feedbacks. We'll see you all in the next live session. Thank you.